Good morning. Today, I've got sitting next to me the infamous, the wild, the crazy Michael Cirillo, host of the Dealer Playbook. We're talking EV storylines, more than cars, and a Google gotcha. We're talking this morning.
We're talking.
Cirillo? We're talking. You know what I love? I don't know if the people can't see this, if they're not listening. You are wearing a very OG shirt today. It's the No Crisis Can Win shirt. That's like throwback, old school ASOTU vibes, but also always extremely relevant. Welcome to the show, Cirillo.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. And this is one of my favorite shirts.
Yeah,
it's breezy. The material's good. So for like those hot Texas days that feel like we're in crisis because you could fry an egg on the sidewalk. It just like everything works.
No heat crisis can win. Promise. I love it. Man, we're getting into it. The team, I'll tell you what, we were just chatting beforehand. The team is releasing like just a plethora, if I may, of content from ASOTU CON, whether it be short form stuff on our LinkedIn channel or on our ASOTU YouTube, which you can find at ASOTube, ASOTU.be. We've got now the mini keynote sessions up. So a bunch of our industry partners brought dealers together to sit on stages, talk about what they're doing in collaboration, how they are leaning into the partnership mentality on how to go to market, whether it be go to market strategies or operation strategies. So all of those are live. One of my favorite ones was I got to sit down. I was supposed to be Brian Kramer and Joel Bassam, and then all of a sudden Robert Hollinshead ends up on stage, and it got totally sideways. It was great. So yeah.
It's been, I mean, at time of recording the pod today, it's been a couple of weeks since ASOTU CON, and the question that keeps rolling through my mind as I try and make sense of ASOTU CON is, what the heck just happened?
I honestly, it took me till like Tuesday to write some level of a post on LinkedIn. Like I post pretty often on LinkedIn. It took my brain like a solid week and a half just to go, what am I going to say about this thing? Because it was so, even for me, very different,
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to be on this side of it, be in the weeds, to watch the ASOTU team maneuver and plan and prep and then execute, in my opinion, a flawless experience for attendees. The content is just off the rails. So, I mean, if you haven't scrolled through the ASOTU socials yet to consume some of it, especially for those of you that couldn't be there, I mean, what the heck just happened? That's as far as I've gotten. That's why I haven't really posted it yet.
I like it. Well, hey, speaking of what the heck just happened.
Stop. Segue.
Time. So what the heck just happened or is happening is going on continually in our industry, specifically the first 5 months of this year. Despite the recent headlines about an EV slowdown, though, the overall electric vehicle market seems like it still is growing. So there's a slowdown in pace, but there's still growth. While sales numbers vary across brands, the industry's progress continues, with certain automakers experiencing significant growth. Automakers like Hyundai and Ford have seen year-over-year EV sales growth grow 56% and 86% respectively. Also, Hyundai, GM, and Ford are on pace to sell more than 100,000 EVs for the first time in a calendar year. Previously, only Tesla had been able to do that. And what analysts are seeing in the market, and Cox Automotive has a big report out, is that because of a slowdown in Tesla in particular, and no model refreshes coming in the year, there's a gap in the EV market that a lot of these other manufacturers are filling. And so even though we're seeing a decline in the growth rate, still seeing significant growth. Political polarization is still impacting EV adoption. We kind of covered this earlier in the week, but where 63% of pollees I don't even know if that's a word, have cited the Chinese dominance as a growing concern. Stephanie Valdez-Streety, the director of industry insights at Cox Automotive, said, "We're still seeing growth in demand, just not at the same pace for every brand." Kind of a broken market and an interesting story that we're still trying to figure out this year.
What I heard you just say is invest in Tesla. Now's a good time to invest in Tesla.
Right. Little bit of a break in the noise. Jump
Look,
on
I mean,
it,
we've talked about this on past episodes of the podcast. I think we are out of the EVs are great for the environment narrative. That has shifted. We've graduated, and it's now we're just into just accept this. It could be a viable product.
Right.
It's like I said, in our household, that's my 15-year-old, as he starts to learn to drive, will have no reference point other than an EV, which is wild to me.
Well, and I think what we're starting to realize, and what all these OEMs are realizing, is that it's just it's like a product line. It's an option that we can have in the product line, instead of just being like the only product line. And there'll still be political forces in play over the next, 11 years, till when everybody wants to see things go 100% electric. But the OEMs, listening to the dealers, listening to the consumer, are just hearing like, oh, we have these multiple product lines similar to different models. It's just a different way to build a model as a product line. So
yeah, you're seeing, I love that. The productization deepens like a finely crafted Nike shoe. It's like, hey, not everybody going to want the dad Air Max P90s like Cirillo. So some people still want to rock the Jordans and the Air Force One. Like, you need different lineups, and that's the way I'm perceiving it in my mind.
Yep, exactly. Well, speaking of how we perceive the industry in our minds,
segue.
That was a little bit of a stretch on the segue. It's a little bit of a stretch, but we got it. Automotive News just ran this story, and it is like all up in the more than cars mentality in our world. Vermont dealer Faith Mamba is not only succeeding in the automotive business, but also giving back to his homeland, Nigeria. Recently, his efforts have led to the creation of a new school, providing much needed educational resources. Mba immigrated to the U.S. in 2004, began his career in the car business soon after, and he's currently a dealer constructing a 37,000 square foot Toyota Ford dealership in Westminster, Vermont. He's also at the same time embarking on a construction project halfway across the world, building a 6-classroom elementary school in eastern Nigeria, where there were basically 200 students studying in a dilapidated 2-room school with no roof, and they have funded this project themselves. After struggling to get like tax deductible donations or anything like that. So the new school includes a well for water, a totally different look and feel of a school than what these students would typically get. He said in a quote, "I look at it as something to carry on my father's legacy. I decided to build it for the children because they are the leaders of tomorrow." Like, you can't get better.
Take that, Mr. Beast.
Right?
I love that.
Man, I got to tell you this story. This is so I was on a plane Tuesday night. About 40% of the time when I'm on a plane, I get that, the talker next to you, and this person was excited to talk to me, and so I was leaning in, and I started telling all these stories of like the more than cars things, the things that have been on the show, or the things that I know that are happening in the industry. And you could see this lady's eyes just kind of like get all googly eyed. Like, I had no clue that people in the automotive industry did these things. And these are the stories that every day get exposed in our industry. Like, dealers building stores, but also building schools for children in Nigeria. That's a reality.
Yeah. What's crazy to me is this, that the giving and community involvement is so commonplace in our industry that we forget to talk about it. We forget to think, wait, I'm doing that. And I'm not sitting here like, oh, self-praise and this and that. I think it's just an indicator of how commonplace the giving actually is, that it's just overlooked.
Yeah. That's a really interesting insight, because it's like, oh no, that's just a part of who we are, not something that we need to shout from the rooftops.
Exactly.
Yep. Speaking of shouting stuff from the rooftops,
I'm so glad you used that one. I was like, yes.
Got him.
I'm so glad. I was like, he's got to say something with the shout. Oh man, Kyle, the king of segues. Speaking of shouting, and shouting from the rooftops, boy, has the SEO community been shouting stuff from the rooftops this week.
Been yelling.
If you're unaware, Google has confirmed the authenticity of about 2,500 leaked internal documents revealing details about the data it collects and potentially uses in its search ranking algorithm. And I mean, for those of you in the marketing industry, especially in automotive, have we not pontificated over the ranking signals over the last 20 years, and Google has kept them all close to their chest? But
I'm telling you what,
the leaked documents reveal that Google tracks data such as clicks and Chrome user activity, which the company previously stated does not influence search rankings. So here we have this like little back and forth tug of war. However, it's unclear if this data is used for training purposes or in the search algorithm itself. The impact of this leak for the SEO marketing and publishing industries due to the sensitive nature of search ranking is, in my opinion, yet to be seen. I mean, is it sharing anything we didn't already know? Having said that, a quote in The Verge says, we would caution against making inaccurate assumptions about search based on out of context, outdated, or incomplete information. And that is directly from Google spokesperson Davis Thompson. So how about this, Kyle?
It's shocking to me. I will say, like, we have learned that these big companies are great at quote unquote leaks, right? Like, it's no surprise that Apple puts patents in particular places, has different manufacturers in their supply chain have a little bit too much access. Like, these things have become commonplace for large companies at some level. I also, in reading, I read so much yesterday on the plane about this. You start to like look at all of the signals that have been quote unquote exposed. It's stuff that as marketers we've known for a significant amount of time. It's not like a massive surprise to the community. It does confirm some things that people maybe were questionable about whether or not these things were impacting search rankings. Right. I think the most interesting thing that might come out of this is I can't wait for the first person that uses Gemini's 1 million context window to analyze the 2,500 page document and GitHub repo to write a purpose-built article to see if it can they can start to rank quickly. We'll see if we'll see if someone can figure that out, and if that's like there's like a reverse engineering practice here. But the other thing is, like, they're changing these algorithms every day, so even keeping up with it, like a document that was leaked a week ago is out of date.
I mean, and specific to the dealer community, what I think we're seeing, especially on the back of the March core algorithm update, which sent shockwaves through the industry, is pay attention to your OEM certified website that's filled with programmatic content that spans 1,700, 2,000, 3,000 other dealers. Because you may just be getting flagged for spammy content, and you may see a sharp decrease in ranked pages, in indexed pages. And those are the types of things that I'm kind of tracking. I mean, this is cool. These leaked documents are essentially saying, what I felt was the number one ranking signal anyways, which is give the online user a better experience.
What they
you
want.
know?
Yep. Better
And
experience and what they want.
there's
That's
going to
it.
be all sorts of, to your kind of, dare I say, conspiracy ideas, though I'm saying that, you didn't say it, is maybe this is just another way to get the overthinkers to overthink so that they can de-index even more crappy content.
You couldn't have said it better. If I couldn't have said it better if I tried. So, hey, we took a journey around a whole bunch of stuff today, from EVs to more than cars to Google craziness. And thanks for taking that journey with us. Appreciate you being a part of the community. Please go make today about more than cars.